Hello again, everyone. I'm here to talk with you again about teacher questions. As I said before in my first video, I am teaching a class at Rutgers University, and it is for the non-traditional route teachers who are becoming teachers. They're already in a teaching position, but they have to take this class. At the end of the class, and actually throughout the class, teachers ask some good questions, some really great questions that are questions that they usually don't get to ask other teachers, or don't get to ask an administrator, or they don't get feedback from, or they're wondering about. And so what I do is I provide those answers, and sometimes we just talk about it amongst each other. So I'm sharing with you two or three of those questions. There are many different questions, but two or three of them that I thought were pertinent or that could help out in some way. Well, the first one is this focus this week was about disruptive students who are disrupting the classroom. How do you set guidelines and expectations in the classroom? How do you have reward systems in the classroom? So what I did is we looked at some videos and things like that, and then I shared with them that I was listening to a radio show, Elvis in the morning, his radio show. Love his radio show. Great show. And one time when I was listening to them on the show, they were talking about that person. That person. Who is that person? Oh, I'm that guy who loves to mow his lawn at 7 a.m. in the morning. Oh, I am that girl who refused to talk to anybody until they finished their cup of coffee. I am that whatever. And it was a humorous thing. So I said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go around and we're going to talk about that kid in the classroom. And at first they're all kind of like, huh, what do you mean? I says, oh no, everybody knows that kid or has that kid. So we started going around the classroom and they started coming. I says, yeah, that kid who wants to argue with me about every decision that is made. That kid who likes to yell out random statements throughout the classroom for no reason. That kid who cries at the drop of a hat no matter what the situation is. That kid who goes silent on me all the time for no reason. That kid. So we started getting around to that. But the great piece about it is that everyone started chiming in as to, oh, I have that kid, and this is what I do. Or, I've seen that kid. How do we do that? And we started talking about ways to really help that kid. One particular one that stood out was that kid who calls out instantly in class all the time for no reason whatsoever. Just makes a noise, says something all the time. So one of the things and strategies that we talked about, particularly for that kid, is, one, ignoring, which you can always do. Ignore them and just don't give them the attention that they're looking for. But she said that at this point now, other kids are starting to do it as well. They're really starting to do that. So we talked about providing positive behavior modifications or incentive systems to say, how much time can go by without you making a sound, and then recognizing, hey, you didn't call out, you didn't yell out. And obviously the child is very impulsive. They have an impulsive thing. But instead of going at the child and saying, you know what, you did it this many times, you got to stop doing that, and just, and punishing that way, look for the positive. Okay, let's set a goal. We'll set a goal for, the next 10 minutes, if we hear nothing or nothing's going out there, hey, way to go. You can have, and this is elementary, you can have a sticker system or whatever else like that. But that's a great way to really start that to happening, to get some movement on it. Another one that came up was that kid, and this is the high school one, that kid who always compliments me as a teacher and therefore thinks they have it in good with me. That's like, oh, this isn't everybody went, oh, apparently has a student who comes in every day. Oh, love your hair, I'll say Mrs. J. Love your hair, Mrs. J. Nice outfit, Mrs. J. Oh, you look great, Mrs. J. Every day has a compliment. And the teacher's like, oh, thank you, and just kind of goes on about her business. And it's like, this is weird. What's going on with this? And so eventually the child did something wrong, whatever. And so she got on his case. Hey, I thought we were good. What was this? Just completely, the child was flabbergasted, even offended. And she's just like, he really thought that, he had it in good with me simply because he complimented me every day. What do I do with that? I said, well, first of all, number one thing as a teacher, you need to protect yourself, especially when you're in a high school situation, you have students. He was a young teacher. He says you have a male teacher who's constantly complimenting you on the way that you look. To be honest with you, you could say thank you and keep it going, but obviously he thought it was a little bit more. You got to cut that in the bud, like cut it now. No, it's not appropriate. I appreciate the compliment, but this is what it is. You know, after class, pull them aside, keep the door open, say, hey, look, appreciate the compliments, but no more of this. And I explained to them at times that high school students at times, they try out relationship stuff on teachers. They do, because they are comfortable with teachers. You know, when they interact with each other, they're always wondering what each other think, that peer pressure piece. So they'll try that, hey, how you looking, good, and say little things to see how far they can get with it, to see how it works before they try it somewhere else. So I told her to just be aware of that. All right, and a second thing, as far as questions are concerned, that we looked at was we talked about how to talk to parents when you have a child who is not behaving properly, that phone conversation. And it got, the one teacher was just like, you know, I'm calling, you know, and then the parents on the other line, they don't say anything, or they might get mad, or they might blast, or they might go off, or whatever like that. You know, this is, you know, what do we do? And, you know, everything like that. Well, number one, I said to him, silence is a very good thing. Silence is a good thing sometimes on the phone. When you talk to a parent, go there with the facts. Make sure you have the facts. You know, you go there, well, I feel this and I feel, who cares about what you feel like? We want the facts of what it really exactly happened. And then you share that with them. And they said with the parent, just like, uh-huh. And, you know, and he says, then I don't hear anything. I said, well, then, you know, you feel the need that you need to continue to talk. Sometimes you do, but sometimes you do. Let the silence do the talking for itself. You may need to do that. And a lot of times you get the parent who says, you know, oh, I'll talk to him. Well, when you hang up the phone and the parent says they're going to talk to him, what are you talking about? Yeah, you talked about things, but it's good to say, oh, good. I'm glad you're going to talk to them. I really appreciate it. You know, just to be clear, 1, 2, these are the 3 points that we talked about as far as things that we're going to go over, and I'll go back over them tomorrow when they come back into school. So when he comes back into school, I'm going to review this, this, and this. Okay? Okay, so what you've just done is you've just outlined specifically what it is that you want them to talk about. Again, just to make sure it was right. And she's like, well, I'm not teaching them how to parent. No. They've already showed that they had a parent. They said they're going to talk to them. That's the parenting part. All you're doing is making sure that the message is exactly what it is that needs to be said in order for you to get the outcomes in the classrooms that you want. So let's say that you have, they say, I'm going to talk to them. It says, oh, great, good. Well, then tomorrow when they come in, I'll also do a follow-up on the fact that they're continually out of their seats. They continue to interrupt the class, and we're going to look at ways to be more positive. Right? Yes? Yes. Okay, so boom, you just outline those 3, and that way they know now they're a little bit of accountable, the parents, in that, oh, now the teacher's going to follow up with them based off of me following up. The another thing that I did is I shared with them this, and I know this is kind of hard to see with what I'm doing here. And what this is my parent phone call flowchart. All right. Oh, that's a little bit better right there. Parent phone call flowchart. So what this flowchart is this is something that I created because I realized that even the most veteran teachers, sometimes they don't really know exactly what to do on a phone call where the parent might be getting upset. So I made this flowchart on how to deal with it. Now, for those of you who really want to see this, I'm going to put a link right here. All right. I'll put a link there. If you follow that link, you'll be able to get a hold of this. And I don't care if anybody has it because it's good stuff. All right. So basically what we're saying is the parent being nice. The parent has a concern. Is the parent being nice? And that's the best way to put it. Are they being nice or they're not being nice? If it's yes, can the concern be solved by you? Because sometimes the concern cannot be solved by you. It's beyond your purview. Maybe there was a fight in the cafeteria. Well, that's not you, but yet you're on the phone call. So if it's yes, you convey empathy, take notes, and get in good information. Is the parent finished venting? If they happen to be venting at all right? If they're done at all, if anyway, ask qualifying questions and take good notes. When you go to a parent phone call, there's 3 things you should always have. You have a notebook, have all the so we can take notes, have your calendar and schedule, and then have a list of phone numbers and contact information, emails or whatever, of other people in your school or in the building or in the district. Always have those 3 with you. All right, so you're taking notes. All right. Ask qualifying questions to make sure that you understand. Then here, repeat the concern to the parent. So what you're going to do is you're going to repeat the concern right back to the parent. So whatever it is that the parent says, just verbatim as best as you can, repeat that back to them so that they can hear what it is that they're saying. That way it's reaffirming what it is that they're saying. Do you have all the information that you need? Politely state your desire to help. Oh no, we're over here. I'm sorry. And then you do what you need to do to work with the parent and work together to solve the problem. Absolutely wonderful. Now, let's say it doesn't go well. All right. So, is the parent being nice? No. Pause, breathe, and think rationally. It's very important that you do that, because the second that a parent starts getting hyped up or upset on the phone, the teacher's going to defense mode. And it's like, no. Pause, breathe. Let them get it out. Let them vent, all right? Listen attentively and take notes. Prepare to restate the parent's concern. Just prepare. I'm not telling you to do it. Prepare. So you're taking notes, you're getting ready, you're preparing to get back to them. Now, can the concern be solved by you? Maybe it can, maybe it cannot. Yes, it can. Convey empathy, take notes, and get good information. Now, when you're taking empathy, when you're showing empathy, to be honest with you, women are better at this than men. All right? What you need to do is, okay, I hear. All right. All right. Isn't that interesting? Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, could you say that again? That's showing empathy. You're not answering them. You're just showing that you are listening and you're understanding. A lot of times men get on the phone, they don't say a word. Or else they want to interrupt and say, I got an answer. Shh, hush up. Just make some noises, showing that you can understand. Is the parent finished venting yet? Are they venting yet? Now, you've noticed over here, I got something that says 3 times no, because you're going to go through this cycle 3 times. Suggest if they're not finished venting, all right? Now, if they are finished venting, ask qualifying questions to keep it moving. If they're not, suggest a face-to-face and suggest a time. Because at a certain point, it's like, they're still venting. You're going to have to interrupt them. Excuse me, I think it would work best if we had a face-to-face conversation. Here are the dates and times that I'm available. That's why you have your schedule with you. All right? So, is the parent finished venting yet? You go through this 3 times. If there's been 3 times that you've tried to interrupt them, stop them from venting, and try to explain that you want a face-to-face and you have a scheduled time for it, because at this point, you haven't given a solution to anything. They're just going off on the phone, right? Because I've told you, we're not responding. All you're doing is affirming what it is that they're saying. You haven't given them a solution to anything yet. All right? You've been taking notes, and they're still going off. And you've gone through this cycle 3 times, all this 3 times. All right? No, they finished venting yet. Politely state your desire to help. Say, I want to help you. Explain that you will hang up and try again at another time. You're going to interrupt them because they're going off the phone. I'm sorry. I truly want to help your child. Unfortunately, at this point, I'm going to hang up the phone and hopefully we can work together again. Click. Yes, hang the phone up. You should have heard all these students in my class. Oh, you hung up on the phone, on the parent. Yes. It's not right for a teacher to be berated on a phone with a parent. All right? You've gone through, and if you've gone through this whole process, you're good. You're in the clear. You're okay. All right? Now, you notice what it said down here. Most important. Once it's all done, seek administration. You just hung up on a parent. Okay? So you make sure that you seek out administration because you did just hang up on a parent. But anyway, so just to give you some things, we talked about parents, talking with parents about students who are not behaving properly. We talked about classroom organizations, things to do in order to help the students. They had some questions as to should the teacher stand at the door or should the teacher be in the classroom. Staying at the door, you can greet them and set it right, but they might come into the classroom and act a fool. It all depends on what you've done on the front end to make sure that they knew what to do going into the classroom to begin with. Anyway, we talked about that. We talked about being on the phone. We talked about that kid, and hopefully there's some answers to some questions that teachers have. Again, you see below, I'll just put it there right now, is the link for the parent phone flowchart. You can have that, all right? You can do that. Hopefully that will be beneficial to you and any other teachers that's out there. All right, this is Steve Bowler, also known as Stand Tall Steve. There you go.